I wanted to look over this Hasan Contrapoints argument. So this person said not only would Kamala have bombed Iran, everyone currently insisting she wouldn't have would be using Beyonce gifs to celebrate it. So, okay, just making fun of the libs. Classic lib roast. So here's where Contrapoints comes in. She says, if the Dems won, libs would be at brunch right now and they'd be quote tweeting pictures. So she's mocking the lib roast, I guess. Ruth Conda forever, and they'd be laughing and posting Taylor Swift gifs and girl bossing and West Wing quotes, and then they'd pour a little bit of baby blood in their mimosas, and then they tweet Kamala, you go girl, and they'd sit on throne of skulls and sing songs of praise. Then Hasan says, I don't think it's far-fetched to listen to what Kamala has said on Iran or Israel, and what she's chosen not to say post-election as the Dems' current leadership refuses to use the 85-5 issue of going to war with Iran to their advantage, even in a calculated, cynical, partisan way. She supported JCPOA. There's no way she would have ordered a preemptive strike like this without congressional approval. She's far from perfect, obviously, but the assertion that she's no different from Trump on this is self-soothing leftist cope. No, this is true though, and this is something that I was thinking about digging more heavily into, because Hasan has a long history now, the past couple years, of equating Kamala with Trump on all fronts, which is very strange to me, because like it just doesn't make sense.
You're saying you don't want Trump to win, but isn't the—
So this is a video from 10 months ago, August 5th, 3 months before the election. You're saying you don't want Trump to win, but isn't the only way for Trump not to win is to vote for Kamala? I don't get it. True. That is the only way for Trump not to win.
the only way for Trump not to win is to vote for Kamala? I don't get it. Yes, but you do understand, I hope, that there is nothing I can do personally. My point—
I hate when he does that. It's like it's a cut up clip, but I don't like when he acts like he's powerless, being like one of the largest political content creators on the internet. That's frustrating. A lot of creators do it, not just him, but
has always been that politicians have to earn your vote. And if they don't do that, if they actually operate on this idea that like it's just lesser evil voting, it's just harm reduction over and over again in every election cycle, they will—
this is accelerationist mentality. This is like my whole like core fundamental issue, is like it's easy to like moralize like this and to act like you're on some moral high ground and that your vote hasn't been earned, but you only ever really see people in a position of privilege where they'll be fine either way. You only see people in these positions making these claims, which is what frustrates me.
will not work to earn your vote. And therefore, many people, a plurality of voters that don't go out and vote, will continue to not go out and vote. Okay? That's my point. Harris wipes out Trump's lead in battleground states in the Bloomberg poll that just came out. Michigan at 53% for Harris, 42% for Trump. Arizona at 49% for Harris, 47% for Trump. Nevada at 47% for Harris, 45% for Trump. I've never felt more vindication in my entire life for actively telling you that this would happen, and it literally did. And every single motherfucker in the chat was chirping at me like, oh, but like, isn't it too late? Well, not every single motherfucker, but the Brandon Dead Enders were in the chat being like, oh, well, isn't it too late to do a swap out? Georgia goes into a tie.
Yeah, it kind of was too late. Wasn't like the #1 Google search on the day of the election like, is Joe Biden not running for president? Why isn't Joe Biden running for president? Like, Americans are not this tapped in, clearly.
With Harris at 47, Trump at 47. North Carolina, Donald Trump is at 48 and Harris is at 46. People were incredibly upset about how old Biden was. That was a major issue for Biden. Honeymoon cupcake polls, those numbers will go down. Those numbers—
I think that Biden's age would still have been less of a factor in the election than Kamala Harris being a woman, to be honest. Not that that's justified, obviously, but that's just the way voters are. Unfortunately, people see an assertive woman, they think she's bitchy, for one. Hillary Clinton had this same problem, obviously. AOC has this problem. Every woman in politics has this problem. I think we'll have a gay man before we have a woman president. Trump blocked first female president twice in a row. Like Trump, I don't know. It's bad. I said the day that they switched Biden out for Harris, and the 2 or 3 week period leading up to it, when like rumors were buzzing about it happening. I was saying the whole time, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. But Biden performed poorly at the first debate and they fucked him. And I think he would have won. I think Joe Biden would have beat Donald Trump, or at least had a better shot. Kamala Harris did really well at the one debate she did with Donald Trump. That's true. But even then, Joe Biden benefited greatly from being Barack Obama's vice president. Joe Biden dominated with African-American voters, and somehow Kamala Harris didn't. So, which is wildly backwards, sure, but that's what happened.
Will go down if Kamala Harris doesn't use this momentum to her advantage. And part of that absolutely has to be changing course on a bunch of things that separates her from Biden. If it's just like she needs to stay on message when it comes to economic policies that Biden was advocating for, all that stuff was really good. Maybe push even harder, straight up. But in terms of like Israel, Palestine, which by the way, these numbers in Michigan will go down if she comes out and swings in the direction of Israel. When the situation in Lebanon is reaching a crisis point and it's boiling up, you need to understand in terms of Biden's immigration policy, she needs to at least like change the trajectory, change the message. But if Kamala Harris comes out and swings for Israel, the numbers in Michigan will change a little bit. Like obviously there's plenty of voters in Michigan that were not interested in Joe Biden due to his age, due to the way he presents himself, but there's still a large enough constituency that is actually looking to see what she will say and do about Israel. There is a large enough constituency in Michigan that wants to understand what Kamala Harris is going to say and do about Israel. And apparently it seems like VP Harris says Israel has a right to defend itself against a terrorist organization like Hezbollah. That being said, we still must work on a diplomatic solution to end the fight.
Harris, Israel has a right to defend itself against a terrorist organization like Hezbollah. That being said, we still must work on a diplomatic solution to end the fighting. This is a completely reasonable statement.
Fighting, which is like basically just Joe Biden. I mean, it's just
yeah, based. I mean, Joe Biden was pretty based.
Joe Biden 2.0 so far.
She was Joe Biden's vice president.
Comes down to whether Americans
it's not that surprising that they're in alignment on a lot of shit.
Will be swayed by the aesthetics of progress in the form of a black woman that is much younger than Joe Biden, or if they genuinely want change. The aesthetics does work. Marketing does work. What do you mean if she has and will continue to support Israel? I know. It's a matter of what her support for Israel looks like. How do I explain to leftists that are hard on voting that I won't vote for her unless her stances in Israel change?
God, this type of person is cancerous to the left. This is so bad. Single issue foreign policy voters. That's what we get stuck with on the left. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Really?
I don't know why you just constantly try to find yourself at odds with other people where you like.
Okay, good. Hasan's actually calling this dude out. That's based. Okay, good job. Passed, Hasan.
Have to explain your positions. I genuinely don't get it. Ultimately, I don't know what this conversation, like, I don't know how people have to have this conversation. Maybe it's weird, but like, maybe I just don't have a lot of diehard liberals or diehard leftists even on that front that are constantly being like, what are your takes on this? Are you in the pocket for Kamala Harris? Front that are constantly.
Sorry, Hasan, but I won't be voting for the top.
Being like, what are your takes on this? Are you in the pocket for Kamala Harris? Are you going to vote for her? Like, I find that to be concerning. I've never been a person who thinks like you have to vote for the Democratic Party. I understand the harm reduction arguments, especially in prior years. But
see, but then this all this messaging. Okay, he's got the Zins on deck. Respect, but he like this messaging is so bad. Like, yes, you do have to vote for it's. We live in a two-party system. That's where we are. The collapse of society is not going to make things better. So, like, if you want a candidate more aligned with your beliefs, you have to convince. This is how democracy works. Obviously, not everyone is on that wave of giving a fuck, but the reality of like living in a democracy is that you have to be more convincing than your opposition, for one, and for two, you have to make compromise. That's the reality. You're not going to get the perfect candidate that you want in every situation, and if you're just going to throw your hands up and abstain if you don't get that, that's not how it works. Like, Kamala Harris isn't like perfectly aligned with me on every fucking issue. Jesus, man. She was a former cop. Fucking hate cops. But I mean, like, dude, the opposition is Donald fucking Trump. Like, come on.
Harm reduction arguments. It's like the candidate has to win your vote. They have to earn your vote.
That's not like, okay, they earn your vote by being more closely aligned with you than the other person. That's how it's earned. Like, this is so, I hate this line of thinking. They have to like earn your vote by being like, what, like 96% aligned with you, 92%, 87%. Like, where's the line? And at what point is it like, okay, well, the other guy's fucking Donald Trump, so maybe I should just fucking vote for this person because, like, yeah, they're not calling for like the open murder of billionaires. I'm being hyperbolic a little bit, but like, dude, come on.
Is democracy. That is how democracy works. We need to call it something different if that's not how democracy works. Like,
No, wrong. How democracy works is you work incrementally towards whatever it is you're hoping for by one, being more convincing than your opposition, two, actually convincing people who are in agreement with you to get out and vote. But throwing up your hands and saying, nah, fuck it, let it burn. I mean, like, I don't think it's going to lead to a positive outcome.
What the fuck are we doing here? What's the point of even theoretically
and again, I do think that that is an opinion that comes from like a massive position of privilege,
claiming we are a
where the outcome of the election actually doesn't matter to you because you're not a naturalized citizen, an immigrant. Like, you're not a woman who might need an abortion. You're not a kid with cancer who's going to have your cancer funding cut. Like, these are all positions. This is a position of privilege to think you have to earn my vote by being within like a 5% margin of my position, or I'm just not going to vote for you. Like, that's crazy. That's not reality, especially when you adhere to like a relatively fringe ideology. But I mean, whatever.
democracy if you're just going to constantly hyper focus and clue in on like a shrinking and ever shrinking group of like rights for a group of marginalized people that consistently gets smaller and smaller. Last election cycle, it was immigration, right? Oh, dude, you want immigrants to be murdered? Like, that's crazy. I can't believe that you don't want to vote for the Democratic Party. And at that point, Joe Biden was at odds with Trump's immigration policy. Now, that time is past, long gone. 4 years of Joe Biden, he actually adopted Trump's 2020 immigration policies. Literally, and tried to push a bill for it. He did. And now people can't say, oh, you don't care about immigrants no more. So they say, what about trans people? I guess you just don't want I guess you are voting. I guess you don't care about trans people. That's why you're not voting for the Democratic Party. And it's like, dude, how many times are you going to play this fucking song and dance? Okay. Yeah, man. The tiny minority that are, let me check, women. Yeah, my bad. Such a tiny minority for me to try and look out for. Man, suck my
dude,
dick.
That guy's spitting.
Yeah, man. Shut the
yeah, man, the tiny minority that are, let me check, women. Yeah, my bad, such a tiny minority. I mean, yeah, this guy's completely right. Or woman. And Hasan totally just fucking brushes them off.
My bad. Such a tiny minority for me to try and look out for. Man, suck my dick. Okay, yeah, man. Shut the up. You're literally doing this dumb shit right now as I'm in the process of talking about this. 4 years of a Democratic leadership and women's rights were cratered in the process. What the fuck do you mean? Like, what commitment do you have to women at all?
Like, what? This is the Supreme Court, which was by, what does he mean? 4 years of, well, I must be mishearing. This is so retarded if he just said what I think he said.
Democratic leader now as I'm in the process of talking about this. 4 years of a Democratic leadership and women's rights were cratered in
because Trump put 3 people on the Supreme Court. Donald Trump did that.
In the process. What the fuck do you mean? Like, what commitment do you have to women at all? And I'm not even talking about just like women in Gaza, which are being slaughtered with our endless support for an apartheid state. Okay. The fuck are you talking about? I hate this argument. You're gonna make me, I don't want to blast a lot of like young people who are, or even old people who are firmly committed to the Democratic Party right now, but you are begging for it if you come in here with this energy. Okay. Like, the idea that like this community or myself don't care about women's rights. The fuck have you done, dumb? We've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for specific groups in red states that work with women, underprivileged women that desperately need medical procedures such as abortion. And you're in here being like, then that happened under a Democratic leadership, by the way. God.
Again, Donald Trump put 3 conservative judges on the Supreme Court. This is a Supreme Court decision that was overturned. Like, to blame the Biden administration for Roe v. Wade being overturned, I mean, that is just actual brain rot, retardation. That is crazy.
I'm not out here saying vote for the Republicans. I would never say that. That's dumb as I'm simply saying that the Democrats.
But not voting for the Democrats is effectively doing that, because Democrats historically always benefit from high turnout, for one. Plus, just mathematically speaking, like a vote not for the Democrats is half a vote for a Republican. So
Democratic Party's posture changes year over year, and the ratchet effect is very real, and it's directly a consequence of this two-party duopoly.
ratchet effect. I've never heard this one. How you are being duped by the fake two-party system. This is some InfoWars shit. Democrats block movement back to the left. Republicans turn everything to... Oh my God. Oh, give me a fucking break. Oh, man.
Where one party consistently capitulates to the right-wing framing on issues, and the other party keeps pushing the needle further and further right, regressing people's individual liberties. And you're left with a smaller...
Because the Overton window is not on the extreme left in the United States. You have to try to appeal to the moderate voter if you want to win an election. Republicans are able to do that.
A smaller margin of issues.
As much as I think it's brain rot, like Republicans make points that are effective for moderate voters. And yes, Democrats should be better at doing that. But the notion that appealing to moderate voters will be achieved by pushing far left policy is just not true. And that's why we see this over and over again. We see people like Nina Turner just get smashed, whatever.
That you can say is different than the Republicans. Well, tough for you because I live in Wisconsin, so should I just not vote for Kamala? Did I say that? I said vote for whoever the fuck you want, as long as it's not Donald Trump, okay? Suck my dick. You can hate it, but if you want to try and tell me there's zero consequences for women if Donald Trump gets elected, yeah, nice one. You're arguing with someone, like you're shadow boxing with someone. You're not arguing against my positions. If you want to vote for Kamala Harris, go vote.
No, this is not an acceptable position for the largest left-leaning content creator on the fucking internet to hold, in my opinion. Fuck it, do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. I hate this, dude. This is why the left loses, because the right's biggest creators are fucking Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan. Like, these people are pushing people to vote for the right, but then the left has this. Oh my God.
Vote illegally, okay? Vote 10
so
times,
cooked.
20 times if you want to. I don't give a shit. Like, what are you talking about? You just want a fucking argument to feel good. You want someone to tell you you're a good boy or a good girl or a good MB for going out and doing your civic duty. That's what you want. You want to feel good about your vote. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, so that pisses you off. It's the same dynamic since 2016 and far before 2016 as well. It's always the same shit. It's not your vote, and your confidence in the Democratic leadership is not sufficient. It's not sufficient enough. I'm over here abiding by a very obvious democratic principle, okay, which is that your elected representatives need to earn your vote. If they simply rely on the aesthetics, or if they simply rely on harm reduction arguments, as the Democratic Party does all the fucking time, they are not going to garner enough
They're trying to
support
appeal to
actually
actual
eke out
Americans.
an electoral college win. This happened in 2016. This literally happened in 2016. That's not how most people vote. At the end of the day, no matter how dumb the median voter is, the average American still votes on vibes for the most part, but they also want to vote for something. The only way that you can actually get a commitment, a firm commitment to go out and vote in a country where it is literally as difficult as physically possible, like the process is completely made difficult in an effort to ensure that people don't go and vote. You're over here being like, oh no, yeah, in a country where the plurality historically doesn't vote, of eligible voters don't vote as a consequence.
Yeah, but then you're out here telling people like, who cares? As like one of the largest left-leaning voices on the internet, he's out here telling people like, who cares? Do whatever you want, bro. He's not pushing for the left, the only possible left-leaning candidate to be elected. So yeah.
The Electoral College and the way that it's designed. Do you think Harris will change course on immigration? No, I don't. Joe Biden had a majority in both the House and Senate for 2 whole years and didn't protect women's reproductive rights.
But we had Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema blocking everything. What the fuck can he do? What can he do? What can he fuck? I mean, I guess he could have done anything, because we're looking at how Trump's running his presidency. You can literally just do whatever the fuck you want. So he could have just sent the military in to the fucking every state that was trying to shut down abortion clinics or something. And I guess. I'm sure that, that wouldn't have caused a shitstorm.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I'm literally a gay person of color, MB, and this lib stuff won't make people like me like this lib anymore and give them awards. I wish they would understand that. It's weird to act like this and need to push this lib narrative. At least you're yelling at him. Yeah, it's just like so weird. It's so odd. Why would you make demands for more progressive politics when an election is right around the corner and they need your votes? It would be much more civil and courteous if you voted for him.
I mean, like, dude, she's not just gonna become a commie to, like, appease you. That's crazy. Most Americans are not this far left. That is the reality.
Harris and then ask nicely. Exactly. That is unironically the argument that some of these people make. Like, they're just hysterical too. They don't even make it like that. They make it in a hysterical way where it's like, you don't vote for Kamala Harris, if you don't offer your undying loyalty to Kamala Harris right now, that means you want women to be murdered. You want trans people to be murdered.
No, it doesn't mean you want them to. It means you're indifferent to it. You don't give a fuck because it doesn't affect you directly. So you have the privilege to not care.
They can't say that about immigrants, though. Notice how they can't say that about immigrants any longer. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that strange? How at least in 2020 they could say that about immigrants too, but they can't say that about immigrants no more. I wonder what happened. Oh, that's right. We all went out and we voted for a dude in terms of harm reduction, and that dude turned around and was like, yo, immigrants too, but democratically. So
dude, Joe Biden was like incredibly progressive. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Joe Biden was further left than most Americans, like, actually. So the notion that that's not like enough for you is wild.
We can judge Trump voters, but we can't judge non-voters. I mean, I judge all voters, but I certainly will judge Trump voters because Trump voters are unironically delusional. What the fuck could have Biden done with the Supreme Court clown?
True.
Yeah, you're right. What
Let
could
him
the
know.
president do? Then why are you voting? Hey, can you explain?
Does this guy not know how government works? Are we serious right now? This is like a brain rot argument that I'm hearing right now. This is crazy. Like, I expected more, honestly. This is disappointing, which is shocking.
Explain to me why you're voting for the president if they can't do anything about anything? Because this is also the other side of the Democratic Party defense brigade when they always go, yeah, actually, why do you have these expectations from the president? Why do you have any expectations of the president?
This is not how government works. The president doesn't control the judicial branch.
Okay, then why the should people vote for the president, dumb? The do you mean? Ultimately, it comes down
because the president is in control of the executive branch. That's one of the three branches of government, Hasan.
No one part can be more powerful than any other is. Each controls the other, you see, and that's what we call checks and balances. Well,
down to this. You just want to feel good.
He's not a dictator. He can't, well, I mean, I guess he is if you control the House and Senate and they're all impotent fucking losers like the Republicans right now, then I guess you can be. But generally speaking, the president can't just be a dictator. That's just not how it works. That's not how government works. This is crazy. This is crazy what I'm listening to. This is like a middle schooler's analysis. Politics. This is crazy.
That your team won. That's literally it. If your goal is not to actually get some kind of serious demands from the elected representative that you're going to go out and vote for, if you don't want any demands from them, then you just...
What demand is going to stop the Supreme Court from undoing Roe v. Wade? He has no power on that. It like brings up the question of why someone like Joe Manchin existed, or why someone like Kirsten Sinema existed in Congress in the first place. And it's because Americans are just not as far left as you want them to be. That's the reality. So that's what the system that we're working within, okay? Like, if Democrats have a 50-50 tiebreaker split in the Senate and one person from a purple state can just block everything, then, like, the president can't fucking do anything. That's the reality. That's how government works.
You just are voting to feel good. You're voting like you did your part. You're voting like you're saving the country or some shit. It's so weird. And you're yelling at someone who doesn't give a shit. Like, I'm not going to be like, don't vote for Kamala Harris. It's insane. Okay. I don't care. Vote for Kamala to your...
What's so funny is that he's talking about harm reduction and this and that, and he's chastising Democrats for being fence sitters. But this is the ultimate fence sitter position, is he's trying to maintain this credibility with his like extreme left audience while also not coming out directly against Kamala Harris. He's just saying, I'm not going to tell you not to vote for her, but I'm not going to tell you to vote for her either because she hasn't earned my vote. Yeah, the other guy's on Trump, but yeah.
Cows come home. But don't sit here and act like you're actually doing something revolutionary, like you're doing something unimaginably progressive, when you also simultaneously turn around and go, well, what could the president do about the Supreme Court? Then why are you
What could he do? Wait, I want to hear him actually explain what he could have done. I want to know what he thinks Joe Biden could have done about Roe v. Wade. I actually want to know. I'm so curious.
voting? It's set, you know? It's set in motion. Nothing we can do about it, I guess. Young libs know nothing but defensive voting for 8 years now. I miss being excited about voting. I mean,
We're
it's
cooked,
just,
dude.
for
The
most
left
people,
is
it's their
cooked.
first or their second election. By the third one, they'll know. Every 4 years, we have this back and forth. That's what it is. It comes from youth. It comes from the naivete that comes along with like thinking that things will change for the better. It's fine. I like that, you know. Go out, kings and queens and
How
them
can he
purrs.
talk about naivete when he's literally pushing like the high schooler's first fucking political opinion shit? Like, actually, it's like he's getting all of his politics from like a punk rock album. Like, dude, give me a fucking break.
Okay, crazy that a rich white dude doesn't care about who wins law. Yeah, no. And then these lines of attack come in.
Holy
It's like,
shit,
they're
true.
like, I'm so privileged. That's why I don't care. You know, you on the other hand, you're the least privileged. You're a gay, non-binary black person in a wheelchair, and your rights are at odds with everyone else's, and that's why you're voting for the Democratic Party, because voting for the Democratic Party
unironically,
is a
yes,
defensive
that is
measure.
like the
no,
case.
You're right. I've never heard that before. Thank you. And you're no longer an undocumented immigrant. Once again, remember, because you were, you know, a gay, non-binary black person in a wheelchair that was also an undocumented immigrant, but you're no longer an undocumented immigrant. You're documented now, because obviously the immigrants, you know what I mean? I definitely have privilege, but I'm not going to act like a dick to people who want to vote. Lol. I'm not being a dick to people who want to vote. I said, go vote for Kamala Harris. I am a dick to people who want to vote for Donald Trump. You're once again arguing against a position that I don't have. You kind of are. You're saying they're being naive. Well, they are. People are being naive if they think that voting for a party without getting any assurances or demanding.
This is tacit, like, encouragement not to vote, by the way. So yes, literally, he is doing that.
Any assurances is naive, and assuming that the party will actually.
I didn't realize the arguments were this hollow, dude. Joe Biden should have overruled the Supreme Court somehow, apparently, in this fucking moron's mind. Holy shit, I'm actually getting so triggered watching this. I don't know if I can make it all the way through this 30-minute fucking video.
Is naive. When has that happened for them? That has not. And it's not like I'm saying there's an alternative out there. There's like a communist alternative that you need to vote for. I mean, I joke about PSL Andes. They Tuesdays in the chat chirping till the fucking cows come home about voting for PSL all day, every day. I make jokes about that too. But if you take it super seriously and you get like really upset, then yeah, I'm going to make fun of you, because it does stem from naivete. People will come into your chat and act like you haven't been against Trump and say, why are you bashing Trump voters? Yeah, that's always awesome. I mean, that's good. That's good. Those guys can be convinced. Potentially. New poll drop. Yeah. Harris has wiped out Trump's lead across 7 swing states in the latest round of the Bloomberg News Morning Consult poll. The poll found a big damn lead in Michigan, a more modest Trump lead in Pennsylvania, and close contests everywhere else. Dead heat. Every 4 years, you'll be getting a new crop of youth voting, and you'll perpetually have to explain the same busted electoral system forever. Potentially. I will say this again.
The electoral system is imperfect, but like the notion that you should just not act at all is so fucking doomer and pathetic. It is pathetic. And why are you talking about politics if this is your mindset? Because you don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck about the outcome.
And you don't want me chirping about Kamala Harris or chirping about ride or die Dems, because my issue with Joe Biden isn't just that he's fucking old, okay? There's plenty of other things that I had issues with Joe Biden and openly said I would never vote for Joe Biden. But if you think that that was the only reason because he was old, you're wrong. If you come in here and chirp at me for not being sufficiently pro Kamala and being in the tank for Kamala, I'm gonna criticize Kamala Harris. Did you vote for Brandon in 2020? I did. That's the issue. Many people's problem with him was, and that's crazy. It's not that crazy. It's a pretty big issue that like the person who's running for president's mental faculties are not in order. Don't you know that not voting for Kamala will cost her the election in California? No, it's not even that. I'm not even saying that. Even if I lived in a swing state, I would be saying the same straight up. Doesn't matter where you live. What matters is your politicians making assurances to earn your vote. This is a fundamental principle in democracy. Okay, you make this calculation. I think it's insane to be like, no, shut the fuck up and vote. Put your head down and vote. And that's not how people vote anyway. Even if you do, even if you vote that way, okay, other people don't. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how hard I chirp. If I could swing votes in any direction in a meaningful capacity, if I had that power, okay, if I could go up against multi-billion dollars in campaign fundraising and multi-billion dollars in free and earned media from mainstream media, right now Bernie Sanders would be president and we would have abolished term limits so that he could be president again. I do not have this power. If I had this power, Hillary Clinton would have been president in 2016. I recognize the writing on the wall with Donald Trump in 2016, and I urge people to go out and vote for Hillary Clinton, okay? It didn't work. Didn't work at all. I was with her. I'm still with
You were a fucking nobody in 2016. What? You were doing bro tips on the Young Turks.
her. Fuck it. Make Hillary Clinton the nominee. I'm not in the...
I don't even say that as an insult, by the way. I'm just saying, like, yeah, okay, you urged people in 2016. You weren't the biggest fucking left-leaning commentator on the internet in 2016.
tank for the Democratic Party across the board. I need you to understand. I'm not a vote blue no matter who guy. I'm not in the tank for the Dems. I have my own positions, and I have never shied from criticizing the Democratic Party, even if it's an election, even if it's not an election, just because you're paying attention to shit that's happening right now because the election cycle has started and now you're interested again, doesn't change my positions. Like, why is that such a radical position? Why can't you be on the inside wondering why shit is fucked up? Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why people are just so, I don't know. People are just, have you ever voted red? No, no. Come on, man. My criticisms of the Democratic Party stem from their proximity. And by that, I mean their closeness to Republican Party positions. That's insane. All I'm saying is not voting does not count as activism. Wait, what?
Like what? Or are we just, is foreign policy all we care about? Is that it? Because Joe Biden tried to do student debt relief, which was a very far left thing to do, by the way. Whatever, who cares?
Did I say that not voting does not count as activism? The only time it counts as activism is in the primaries, where the uncommitted campaign, which is still voting, by the way, was a phenomenal opportunity for people to show the Democratic Party that they were not happy with what things were. So technically you are blue no matter who? Wait, what? Every single...
It shouldn't be blue no matter who, but it should be like when the opposition is Donald Trump and your choice is Kamala Harris. Like, that is a solid fucking choice. When your choice is Joe Biden, that's a great choice. Joe Biden was a great president. This is fucking so irritating to listen to. I'm gonna get so triggered.
Single argument that people are making in the chat, they're basically, okay, this is not a position that I've had. This is not a position that I've maintained. This is not a position that I've ever advocated for. That's it. I am not an accelerationist by any means. Not at all. I don't want...
This is the pure accelerationist position, by the way. I mean, like, he's being fence city about it. He's being like an Asmongold ass motherfucker about it. But this is essentially the accelerationist position because you're basically saying you haven't earned my vote, so I'm not gonna vote. I'm not gonna vote for the lesser of two evils. And if Donald Trump wins, oh, whoops, you didn't earn my vote. And I guess everything can burn down.
Donald Trump to win. That's why I advocate for the things that I advocate for, because it's sound policy and it's good politics. And it's kind of wild to come in here and chirp at me when, like, the Democratic Party seemingly has maybe not heard my talking points, but has, like, genuinely done a bunch of the things that
Dude, everyone's heard your talking points. They're just not that popular.
I actually said must...
You're not convincing. Like, you just try and hold the left hostage if you don't get what you want.
happen. And now you're looking at the polls on showing exactly what I've been saying, nonstop, and you're still chirping at me. As someone who is not that into politics overall, I genuinely don't understand how people can misunderstand you so frequently. Even if they disagree, you're explaining your position in a way that even I understand. Yeah, just you're saying you don't want Trump to win, but isn't the only way for Trump not to win is to vote for Kamala? I don't get it.
True.
Yes, but you do understand, I hope, that there is nothing I can do personally, okay, unless, I guess, like, seemingly...
Okay, yeah, this is a loser mindset, okay? This is a loser mindset. He just doesn't, he's trying to hedge with, like, his far left audience, because half of his audience probably is, like, never Dem, and then half of his audience is fucking willing to vote for Democrats, and he doesn't want to take a position. So he's literally just doing the clout max. He's clout maxing, bro. That's what he's doing. He's fence sitting.
The party listens to the things I'm saying, which is laughable. It's not going to happen. My point has always been that politicians have to earn your vote. And if they don't do that, if they actually operate on this idea,
then fuck it. Let Trump win.
Idea that, like, it's just lesser evil voting, it's just harm reduction over and over again in every election cycle, they will not work to earn your vote. And therefore, many people, a plurality of voters that don't go out and vote will continue to not go out and vote. Okay? That's my point. This is the most important election for our lifetime, just like 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020, 2028, 2032, 2036. Yeah, it's always the most important election. I've never had a situation where it was the least important election. You know what I mean? Nobody ever comes out and says this is the least important election of our lifetime. That was the Hillary problem. Just vote for me. I'm the only choice. Exactly. And it was objectively a bad way to run a campaign, and it failed. I think 2016 legitimately was the least consequential election. I think it was actually a very consequential election. I think that's what you're saying, right? Because it was. I don't think you understand the influence you have on your viewers. Man, shut up.
True. Dude, your viewers are drones.
The influence I have on my viewers. Yeah, I'm going to swing votes, dude. Even if I had the
Yes, you're the media.
capacity to swing votes, if that was real, then the Democratic Party would listen to me. But they do not. And therefore,
Because there's a large contingency of people who will vote for Democrats based on moderate. You are the minority wing of the left. You are the minority wing, okay? And because of that, you don't have the privilege of holding the fucking party hostage to get what you want. They're not going to listen to you because if they listen to you, they're going to lose more voters on the other end.
or if I have the capacity to literally change the trajectory of a election,
The notion that Democrats keep getting killed with moderate voters, so we need to go further left, is so stupid. It's so on its face dumb.
then don't you think it's idiotic for the Dems to not listen to me then? Because if I'm this all-powerful being, let's say 37,000 people are currently watching me, every single one of them is an American who's registered to vote in a fucking swing state, which is not the case. I have an international audience as well, but let's say they're all over the age of 18 and they're all swing state voters, every single one, right? Don't you think that if that was the power that I held in my hand,
This is giving me a
that the
migraine.
Democratic Party should listen to someone so powerful? Obviously, that's not the case. And I do not have that capacity because a lot of people have peasant brain. A lot of Americans have peasant mentality. We fancy ourselves to be revolutionary figures that dump tea. We think, no, we're all big, bold, brave patriots at the end of the day. We're revolutionary figures.
All right, I've heard enough. He's saying all the same shit. I'm just going to draw it really quick, okay? Let's do it like this. You have this circle, and this circle, and this circle, okay? And these two circles together are greater than this circle, okay? And so in this analogy, this is Republicans, this is Democrats, and this is leftists, okay? So in this situation, this is fucking greater than this. Okay. However, if this person, who's Kamala Harris, this is photorealistic, if this person tries to appeal too heavily to this group, then this group is going to cut off. Then what you have is a situation where this group will get like slightly bigger, but then this group gets smaller. And these people, this is getting kind of schizo, this drawing, go over here, and then the circle grows. So this is my point. You can't try to appeal to the extremists because then you lose the moderates. Okay. I'm done with this video. He's saying all the same shit. It's just disappointing that people actually believe this kind of logic. It's very sad, and this is a problem that plagues the left that the right doesn't seem to have to deal with, not nearly to the same scale, but it is what it is. The right has like a natural advantage of, well, they have a few advantages. One of them is they can just say whatever the fuck they want because they can just lie because people don't care. They aren't held to any standard whatsoever compared to the left. Joe Biden's son makes money in a completely legitimate way in a foreign state, and it's a massive scandal for years. Donald Trump's children literally work in the fucking White House. Donald Trump is trying to take gifts from foreign governments. He's selling a cryptocurrency scam coin. He's fucking selling trading cards. He's literally selling private access to him through dinners. And Republicans just don't give a fuck. So, right, they just have all these advantages. You have to fight for the moderates, and you have to take everything you can get on the left because you're fighting for reality and truth. And like, as corny as that sounds, it's the reality of the situation. Because if you're going to take the left leaning position, it's just an uphill battle because the opposition is literally fucking like unhinged. They will do and say anything. They have no like moral like limitations to their behavior. Whatever. It's all pointless anyways. These people will never listen. No, actually no. That's a fucking Hasan mindset. I take that back. It just gets frustrating. Listening to this shit gives me a fucking migraine. But yeah, I'm done with this. I'm playing Marvel.